Harlow arrived in Briar Ridge on a cold September morning. The town lay in a quiet valley, wrapped by forests that locals avoided after dusk. His plan was simple. Start over. Forget the chaos of the last year. Build something that finally felt like a life instead of a consequence. He rented a modest house at the end of Briar Lane. The place had peeling paint and a roof that sagged in the center. But the porch faced the forest, and the silence felt like a promise. His first evening unfolded quietly until he noticed an object wedged behind a loose floorboard in the hallway. It was a photograph, old and grainy. The face in the center belonged to his father. Michael froze. His father had died 12 years earlier, and Michael had never known him to set foot in Briar Ridge. Around him in the picture stood 4 strangers. Behind them rose the silhouette of the same house Michael now lived in. Questions began to gnaw at him before the sun even rose the next day. On his second afternoon, he met the neighbor, Clara Winton. Her presence carried something brittle, as if the world had taught her to flinch before it ever taught her to speak. She asked if he was settling in. He asked if she knew the people in the photograph. Her reaction told him more than words. Her eyes tightened. Her voice dropped. "You should be careful digging into the past around here. Some stories were buried for a reason." She left quickly, almost abruptly. The warning lingered in the air long after she closed her door. Michael didn't know how to let something go once it had sunk its teeth into him. He visited the town library. The librarian, Agnes Crow, was old enough to remember when the roads were still dirt. He showed her the photograph. She studied it as if it were a key she had once tried to forget. She returned with an archive box. Inside lay yellowed newspapers. Headlines told a story older than he expected. 4 young locals vanish in 1981. No bodies found. Investigation stalled. One photo matched the strangers standing beside his father. Michael felt his stomach twist. His father had been here the year these people vanished, and he had never spoken a word about it. Agnes lowered her voice. There were rumors they went into the forest. Some said they were part of something peculiar. Others said what lives in those woods is older than legends. Nothing was proven. But your father, he was questioned. Michael stumbled out of the library with a weight he couldn't breathe under. His father had been a strict, distant man, the kind whose silence always felt like a locked door. Now Michael realized that door had never been locked. It had been sealed. That night the house shifted around him. At first he thought the wind was shoving its way through cracks in the old structure. But then he heard footsteps. Slow, heavy, approaching the hallway. He stepped into the darkness. Nothing was there, yet he felt watched. He went into the forest the next morning. He followed an overgrown path and reached a clearing where a concrete hatch protruded from the earth. A rusted bunker door. The same one he had glimpsed in the background of another newspaper photo Agnes had shown him. Inside lay murals scratched into the wall. Names, dates, symbols that twisted something in his stomach. And in the corner, half buried in soil, lay another photograph. His father again, younger, standing beside the bunker with the same 4 missing people. This time, Michael wasn't alone. A voice behind him said, "I told you not to dig." Clara stood in the doorway, breathing hard. She confessed that her older brother had been one of the missing. She had spent years following rumors about that final night in the woods. The stories pointed in one direction. toward a group that believed the forest was a gateway to something beyond human comprehension, something they wanted to summon, something his father had been seen with. Michael felt the world tilt. He wanted to deny it, but the photos didn't lie. Clara pulled a folded page from her coat. It was from a diary, her brother's handwriting. Harold Harlow says the veil is thinnest tonight. If we succeed, we will see the shape in the shadows. Harold Harlow. His father? Michael stumbled out of the bunker. His thoughts spiraled. He couldn't reconcile the man who raised him with what he was learning. That night he barely slept. The forest rustled as though something moved beneath the roots. The house at the edge of Briar Lane. Hours before sunrise, someone knocked at his door. A man stood outside, wrinkled, pale, eyes sunken. "Michael," he said gently. Michael's heart stopped. It was his father. "Dad?" His voice broke. "I never died, I only disappeared." His father stepped closer. "The forest called us back. We were supposed to return. You were supposed to follow." Michael felt his body turn cold. "You're lying." His father reached out. "This house chose you. The forest remembers blood." Clara appeared behind Michael with a flashlight. His father's expression twisted into something hollow, something that didn't belong to a man. He moved toward them. Michael slammed the door, but it rattled violently as if struck by something beyond human strength. They fled through the back porch into the woods. Branches whipped their faces. Something followed, its steps irregular, dragging. Clara gasped. "The bunker! Lead him there!" They reached it just as dawn scraped the horizon. Michael opened the hatch and lured the figure inside. Clara helped heave the door shut. The pounding from within sounded barely human. Then silence. Michael collapsed against the hatch, breath shaking. Clara whispered, "Whatever he became, it wasn't your father anymore." They walked back to the town in silence. When Michael looked back at the tree line, something shifted between the trunks, watching. He left Briar Ridge that same day. But at night he still hears the bunker door in his dreams. Still wonders if the thing inside remembers his name. Still fears that one day he will hear a knock at his door. And this time, it will not be gentle.